On average, we spend about 540 hours a year in our cars. That's some quality time. It's also mileage, wear and tear, and inevitably things go wrong. That's where your questions come in. Peter Fink is here to answer them. He owns Certified Transmission. Hi, Peter.
That's a lot of hours, definitely.
Can you think about that?
Good. That's a shocking number, actually, you know, so. You add that up to how many weeks that is compared to work or something. I mean, wow.
The amount of time of our lives we spend behind the wheel.
That is true.
And it gets us to this point where people see, they hear noises and different lights are coming on, and those are some of the themes that we see from time to time with these visits.
And that's why I say when people say something's changed on their car, they really know it because they're in the car, as you just said, a lot of time, and they feel something different. Okay.
Well, John wrote in. We've got 3 viewers, as you know the routine by now. We try to get to as many questions as possible. Usually it's 3. So let's get to John. He says, I have a 2014 Ford Explorer. I sometimes get excited and put the vehicle in reverse right after starting it. Sometimes as it's starting, it will then pop or jam into the reverse gear. Is that a potential transmission problem, or should I just be more patient and let the car start fully before putting it in reverse?
I think that was kind of almost self-answering, okay, or whatever.
You think John knows the answer?
I think John knows the answer.
Be more patient?
Be a little more patient. But I do want to say a couple things. Actually, Fords are a little bit known to go a little bit slow into reverse, okay? That is kind of an inherent problem on some of the Ford Explorers and even some of the Ford pickup trucks. We have seen that, okay? And sometimes and Ford even has a bulletin that says it does sometimes take 2 or 3 seconds, and that's considered normal. I'll tell you that 2 or 3 seconds seems like an eternity, okay, and stuff. They do have some new programming, okay, to help that. So I've talked before on the show that you have to update your computer program on your cars, okay, just like you do your home computer, okay. Unfortunately, it's not free, but you go to a repair shop, they will update that program. It's around $129 or something like that. It ain't a lot of money. A lot of times it'll address that reverse, okay. And then again, if this thing's got 100,000, 150,000 miles on it, it could be a sign that the transmission's going bad. Okay, that is a real common problem on the Ford pickup trucks and Explorers, okay, and Rangers that we see on a lot of them. So.
Okay, so John, either be patient or update the software.
Sounds like be patient for right now, but I would try the software, stripping it and you might see us pretty soon.
Okay. And there are 5 locations in the area, John. Ashley is up next, and she writes, the rear bumper of my 2006 Ford Focus got smashed in when I backed into something. It's not really in the budget to fix it right now. Is this just a cosmetic issue, or will it affect my gas mileage and car performance?
Well, it's not going to affect the car performance necessarily, and I don't think it's going to affect the gas mileage unless this thing is really hanging out and like a big scoop or catching the wind or something like that. I suspect it isn't that bad if you backed into something. It's probably more cosmetic, okay, I would think. The only other concern is, long as you didn't damage the structure integrity for if you get rear-ended, okay, because the bumpers are designed to have some absorbent that the accident isn't as bad, okay? So I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't think it's probably that bad, okay? But you probably need to plan for it, get it in the budget, get it repaired. It's probably more a safety issue than it would be anything else in case somebody else ran into the back of you, okay, and stuff.
Can you give recommendations on body work too? Because we talk about other like things that really are about performance, and you specialize in transmissions, but you'll send, so with something like this, can you also recommend another business where you say they do a good job?
There are a lot of great body shops in town that have won several awards in town from the Better Business Bureau and other places and Best of Omaha and things. So yeah, there's a lot of great shops in town, and if you want to call, I'm more than happy to give you a couple recommendations to go to.
Because your thing at Certified is the job done right at the right price.
Sure.
And if you think birds of a feather flock together, you're aligning yourself with other businesses that do right by their customers. And so if you ever need a recommendation, Peter, a manager at one of his shops, they're great about that. And our final question today, this one comes from Linda. She writes, how often should belts and hoses be changed on vehicles to keep them fresh and operating properly?
You know, that's a great question, okay? And I don't know that there's actually 100% generic answer, okay? Because depends if car gets used every day or if it's sitting or something like this. And did you do proper maintenance, changing the antifreeze and things like this? But as a general rule of thumb, I would say probably on the belts, these new belts really run a long time. I would say they probably will go 75,000 miles, okay? Sometimes even 100,000 miles, okay? And the hoses, again, around 100,000 miles, I like to put them on, okay? And again, why I do that is preventative maintenance. I don't like to be broke down on the side of the road. So, you know, it's kind of like the battery. A battery lasts 4 or 5 years. I replace it at 4 or 5 years because I want my car to always start. I don't wait for it to break or not start, okay? And I tested, it's a little bit weak. The same with the hoses and this. You know, a hose goes bad in the summer, it builds more pressure, you're on the side of the road. I mean, it's no fun, okay? Plus, you know what? I've seen people ruin engines, okay, a lot of times. And now instead of spending a couple $100s for belts and hoses, you're up to $3,000, $4,000 for an engine. Now you go, well, the car ain't worth that.
Or you end up just getting a new car when you weren't planning on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a preventative maintenance deal. Around 100,000 miles, I think, is a pretty good rule of thumb. And your shop will always check it, you know, when you're getting your oil changed and stuff just to make sure. So.
All right. So John and anybody else who needs help with their transmission, as we said, 5 locations in the Omaha area. You can make appointments online, learn more about Peter's company online at certifiedtransmission.com, and they're on Facebook if you'd like to learn more about what they're up to in the community. Thank you, Peter.
All right.
Great to see you.
Well, I got to go spend a little time in my car.
Add to that 540 hours for the year.